The objective of this video is to give you an overview of the 5 methods that you need to choose under the best method rule. As you may recall from our first video, we have a Japanese manufacturer selling products to a UK distributor. They are both related parties belonging to the same group, and they need to determine whether the transfer price of 70 being 10 products sold at 7 per unit is at arm's length or not. As we said before, you have several options to determine whether the transaction is at arm's length or not. The most natural method that you have, the one which should come into your mind quite quickly, is the one we call comparable and controlled price. Why is it natural? It is simply because the idea of this method is to look at the specific transaction and say, okay, I have a Japanese company selling a specific product to a UK company. I will try to look on the market whether I can find a comparable transaction, comparable product, comparable seller, comparable buyer. And if it's the case, and if I can prove that these products are sold at more or less 7 per unit, then I can prove that my transaction is respecting the arm's length principle. Obviously, it is sometimes difficult to find comparable transactions, so if you are not able to apply this CUP method, comparable and controlled price method, you can go for other one. Let's focus on the UK co, so let's focus on the distributor. You can have a look at its gross profit. There, you would apply the resale price method. This is also, as for the CUP method, a direct measure of the price of your transaction, in the sense that that's right, you look at the gross profit of the distributor, not directly at the price, but from this gross profit you can deduct what is an appropriate price. So the idea is to look for comparable distributors acting and performing activities in a comparable situation as your UK distributor, and try to evidence whether a gross profit of 30 makes sense, and more than makes sense, respects the arm's length principle. Then, as you know, your sales are 100 from sales on the market, so being at arm's length, you can simply deduct your 70 being 100 of sales less 30 of arm's length gross profit, leading to the price of your sale between Japan Co and UK Co. If we still focus on the UK company, but go down in the profit and loss account and go to the operating profit. If you look at the operating profit, it integrates the operating expenses of this distributor, meaning that here we will not have a direct measure of price. We will rather look at the net margin of this distributor on this particular transaction, and we will then apply the comparable profits method of the distributor. The idea, again, is to have a look on the market whether this operating profit makes sense. This operating profit obviously can be compared to the sales, to the costs, to the assets of the distributor. This will be discussed in other videos, because it is now entering a bit into details on this specific methodology. But the idea of the comparable profits method, to be recalled, is that you look at the net margin realized by the distributor. Let's focus now on the manufacturer. You can apply other methods, but rather with a different tested party, being the Japan Co. Again, you can have a look at the gross profit. In a way, and you would apply the cost plus method. In a way, it is kind of a twin to the resale price method, because you look at the same line of the profit and loss account. The only difference, which is a big difference obviously, is that here your transfer price is your sales, while the transfer price under the resale profit method was the cost of goods. So the idea is to try to find comparable manufacturers to Japan Co and verify that a gross profit of 30 compared to your cost of goods of 40 would lead to an arm's length result. If yes, then you simply add this 30 gross profit to the cost of goods of 40 and get again the 70, the transfer price of 70, meaning that this cost plus method again is a direct measure of profit. If we go down in the profit and loss account and again look at the operating profit, you can apply the comparable profits method of the manufacturer, meaning that you will focus on the net margin of comparable manufacturers on comparable markets, performing comparable activities and selling comparable goods to this UK company, and try to see whether this 10 of operating profit would be at arm's length, again compared to either sales, costs, assets, or other profit level indicators. Last but not least, we spoke in the first video of the consolidated operating profit, which is here 15. The last method you can use is what we call the profit split method. This name indicates already a bit what it means. The idea is to look at the global profit, the global operating profit realized by both Japan Co and UK Co, and determine how to split the profit between one party and the other. There you will look more at the contributions of each party to the transaction at hand, at the value added they have, and then decide on an allocation of this global profit depending on the contributions. In the case at hand, as you can see, it has been decided to split 2/3 to Japan and 1/3 to the UK. As a conclusion, there are 5 methods: comparable and control price method, resale price, and cost plus methods, which, as we said a bit before, are direct measures of your profit. And then you have the the comparable profits method and the profit split method, which will target the net margins of your tested party or tested parties. The idea is now to be able to find the best method out of all these methods to be sure that you will find reliable results.